is a place that Santa and I have been privileged to spend a great deal of time at over the last, well, 23 years or so. Almost all of the photographs I'm going to show, except for one or two, by the way, are by Santa. As I mentioned at the outset, Santa and I are constant companions. Santa and I are constant companions, and it's been my great good fortune to be able to share these adventures with Santa over many years. We're looking at the Great Pyramid of Egypt here, the last surviving wonder of the ancient world. And it's useful to have some statistics and some facts about the Great Pyramid, that it is 481 feet high, which is nearly 147 meters, that it's got a 13.1 acre footprint, which is just over 5 hectares. It weighs 6 million tons. It consists of 2.3 million individual blocks of stone. There used to be a casing on this pyramid, a highly polished limestone casing, and that is thought to have consisted of 115,000 shaped blocks weighing about 10 tons each. We know that from the few blocks that have survived. But that facing came off during the great earthquake in Cairo in 1301. And the rubble from it was used for the construction of many mosques and palaces that still stand in Cairo today. The angle of slope of the Great Pyramid is 52 degrees, and this is the southwest corner of the Great Pyramid that we're looking at here. And this, I can tell you from long experience, is the corner that you should climb if you wish to find yourself at the top of the Great Pyramid. You would not be advised to go up the center. I've tried that, and the stones are very eroded, and it's also possible just to lose your bearings completely in the center. But if you follow a corner line, it's quite a straightforward 25 to 30 minute climb. Sometimes you find yourself clambering over courses of blocks that are as high as my chest, up to my neck, in fact. And you're effectively mountaineering at that point. And on one of the many occasions in the last 23 years when Santa saved my life was when we were doing that, and I was holding on to an eroded knob of limestone and pulling myself up, and it broke off in my hand, and I fell back. And luckily Santa was behind me and just pushed me forward enough so that I didn't then fall 300 feet to the ground at an angle of 52 degrees. Photograph from an Egyptian military helicopter hovering over the village of Nazlet al-Saman, which lies on the northeast side of the Giza Plateau. Great Pyramid, Second Pyramid, the Pyramid of Menkaura, and the village of Nazlet al-Saman. I like to point out that the Great Sphinx, which is 270 feet long and 70 feet high, is in this picture. And therefore such a large thing should be easy to see. But I suspect it's quite difficult to see unless you know the geography of the plateau well. This is the Great Sphinx here, gazing east across the Nile Valley. There's a lot of archaeology under the village of Nazlet al-Saman. As a matter of fact, if you walk through the streets at night, you can hear the sound of spades, because everybody's digging out the foundations of their houses. And for a long time, the dreadful Zati Hawass, the pharaoh of the pyramids, wanted to have Nazlet al-Saman completely bulldozed so that he could possess it for archaeology. But it caused riots in the streets of Cairo, and eventually he did not. We are looking at the north faces of the three pyramids here. The true entrances are in the north face in every case. These days we enter through this little hole here, which is called Mamun's Hole, after the Caliph Mamun, who broke in the 9th century. At that time, the pyramid was still covered with its facing stones, and the true door of the Great Pyramid was not known. It was a hidden slab, which, had they known where it was, they could have pivoted it, but they didn't, and they never found it, and they broke in, cut their way in. This actually up here is the true entrance to the Great Pyramid. It was revealed when the facing stones came off with the earthquake. But when the Arabs broke in the 9th century, they eventually found themselves intersecting the inner corridors of the Great Pyramid. They actually heard a slab falling and they understood that there was a cavity there. And they then worked their way around. And we then come closer and we can see that there's half a course of masonry left on the top of the Great Pyramid, and that's on the south and east sides of the top of the Great Pyramid. We don't actually know if the Great Pyramid was ever completed with a pyramidion or not. Was it deliberately left unfinished? Was it a technical feat beyond the builders? I doubt it. Or did it come off during that earthquake? But we can see an example of the facing still left on the second pyramid here, and they certainly were able to. The pyramid stands on latitude 30 degrees north. This is said by Egyptologists to be a total coincidence because, of course, the ancient Egyptians had no concept of the shape or size of the world. Latitude 30 degrees north is, of course, a significant latitude. It's 1/3 of the way between the equator and the North Pole. But the view of Egyptology is that that is just an accident. I don't think it's an accident at all. I think it's absolutely deliberate choice, and it's one of the many ways in which the Great Pyramid speaks to the planet upon which it stands and manifests its connection with planet Earth, latitude 30 degrees north. Another way that it does that is with its almost perfect alignment to true north, just 3/60ths of a single degree off true north. And let's be clear, this is not magnetic north. This is astronomical true north that we're talking about here. It's an amazing feat of setting out and alignment to get a monument with a 13-acre footprint and a 6 million ton weight to align so closely to true north. It's actually an amazing feat to create a pyramid at all, because if you make a slight error in the lower courses, by the time you get to the top, you've got something shaped like a screw rather than like a pyramid, and it doesn't work at all. So it really is an incredible feat of engineering and astronomy. It's a navigational accuracy astronomy, but this is one of the reasons why I personally don't need extraterrestrials to build the pyramid. Because I would say that if you have the technology to cross interstellar space, you actually can get perfectly true north. If you have the technology to cross interstellar space, you can get the side lengths all exactly the same. In the case of the Great Pyramid, they vary by as much as 6 inches. That's an incredibly fine work, but it's human work. I don't think it's alien technology that we're looking